Welcome to the second in this series of videos. This one is about company policies. Now, so many businesses, restaurants, hotels, dental offices, retailers, they're having to close. They don't have a choice about whether they can stay open or not. They're just having to lay off their staff and close. They're being told to by the government. So a lot of these business owners are turning to other companies looking for help, looking for breaks. So for example, a lot of them are turning to credit card companies saying, look, I have no money coming in. I can't pay my bills. What can you do for me? Or they're turning to banks and saying, look, I'm not going to be able to make my rent or my mortgage. What can you do for me in these ever-changing times? Like the rule book is being rewritten. Well, some of these institutions are coming back and saying, look, we'll give you 3 months, no interest, or we'll defer payments, or there won't be any penalties, or you don't need to worry, we're not going to foreclose on your house. But for other institutions, they're saying, sorry, that's our policy. It's business as usual. We're not making any changes. We're not going to compensate anybody. We're not going to make any allowances. Their policies aren't changing. And this is not only wrong from a moral perspective, but as well from a business perspective, because these customers need help. And when you turn to a company and say, I need your help, and the company says, no, we're not going to be there for you when you need us. We're only going to be there for you when you can operate on our terms. Well, that's when customers start looking elsewhere. And they might stick around for now because they have to, but the first opportunity they get, well, they're not going to forget this. At that point, they might have a change of mind. Yeah, looks like the rules are being rewritten now. And it's a whole new rule book. Nobody really knows what to do. But what's important is that you implement policies that let your customers know that they are valued and appreciated just as they've always been. And for you as a business, that means possibly doing a lot of things differently. And some of them may benefit you, some may not in the short term. But what's important is that you keep that relationship that you have with every customer on solid ground. They still want to be valued, they still want to be appreciated. So let's look at some ways that we can make this happen. So to get things started, let's start with an illustration. Follow along with me here, okay? Let's start with a square, separated into 4 parts. Each part represents an area of your business that directly impacts the customer experience. We have price, the product or service you provide, support, which includes tech support, customer service, even sales, and finally delivery. That being how you get the product or service into the hands of your customers. Now, normally all 4 of these quarters would be interconnected, and for a business to do well, they'd all have to operate in harmony. When one changes, the other 3 would have to change. So for example, let's say you owned a restaurant. It could be a high-end steakhouse or a budget diner, who cares? Doesn't matter. The point being is the food, the prices you charge, the decor, the staff, everything has to be in alignment so that customers not only have a great experience, get great value, but for you, you've got your costs under control as well. Well, today the rule book has changed. Some of the things that you were doing before are not going to work now because the market not only has changed, but the expectations of customers have changed and how they want to consume the product, how they want it delivered, and the prices they're willing to pay. So I want to share with you some ideas and things that you can do to apply to your business to ideally keep things going as smoothly as possible. Now, in normal times, most businesses focus on maximizing profits, maximizing revenue, but these are not normal times. So instead, what I want you to do is kind of do a huge paradigm shift in your mindset, and instead of trying to maximize revenue, I want you to try to reduce losses. And they might sound like 2 sides of the same coin, but they're not. Because when you focus on reducing losses, you will make changes that will have a positive impact on your bottom line, even though no new business is coming in. So for example, I have a client who's a plumber, and he knows that all his big renovation jobs, they've all dried up. Nobody's doing them. But people still need a plumber to unclog those sinks and toilets, especially from all the toilet paper they've been hoarding. So they need to be available for that. And as such, he's been able to reduce his losses by letting everyone know he's still in business and he's still doing emergencies. And he's been able to keep the bulk of his staff at the same time. For your business, it might mean reducing hours, reducing staff, reducing services. It might mean offering different products or services. Reducing your hours or whatever it takes is important to be able to reduce losses, because ideally you want to stay in business, and even if worse comes to worse and you have to close, you want to close with as little impact as possible to your bottom line. Now, me personally, I have always loved stealing ideas from competitors. I like to call it R&D, as in rip off and duplicate. But the fact is, it's important to recognize good ideas from bad ones. You're going to see a lot of companies change their policies, the way they do business, over the next few days, weeks, and even months. So it's important to recognize what works and what doesn't. So for example, video game retailer GameStop consider themselves to be an essential service because in their view, they sold mice and keyboards, which is what people needed to do business even from home. And as such, they were forcing their staff to still work there. Well, there was a huge social media backlash against them, and they ended up closing all their stores for the time being. Not a great idea trying to figure out how you can become an essential service, putting your staff in the front line facing those who may be infected with COVID-19. So not a great idea. But there are a lot of businesses really crushing it out there that are doing well, that are really doing innovative things with regards to how they're treating their customers, whether it be opening different hours to allow the elderly to come in, or offering delivery or curbside delivery or pickup or web-based ordering, or even just kind of making things easier with regards to products and services, whatever it is. These are things to look out for, because there's going to be some great ideas out there, and it's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong at all with you taking them and adapting them for your own business. During this time, everything we know about business and customer service and revenue and everything else is being turned upside down. The rule book is being rewritten, and the businesses that will do the best are ones that develop new policies that are both proactive and reactive to the changing market conditions and the demands put on them by customers. If you want to succeed, or relatively succeed, the way things are now, there are things you can do, but you have to be prepared to implement policies that continuously respond to the needs of your market. So now is not the time to batten down the hatches. Now is not the time to try to raise your prices and turn this into a marketing opportunity. No, now is the time for you to focus on being what your customers need you to be. Now, if things are just absolutely crazy for you, if you cannot manage it, and you feel that, you know what, there's no alternative than to just hang a sign out front that says, we'll be back when all of this is done, that's okay too. I don't want you to do something you're not comfortable doing, something that doesn't work for you on a business level or even on a personal level. So if you want to stay in the basement and watch Netflix and play video games and eat chips all day, that's okay. Just understand that there are other options out there. There's ways that you can do business. You don't have to, by default, just choose to close up. Unless, of course, you've been told to by the government, but that's a whole nother situation. So based on what I've shared with you, I hope there's something that you can apply to your business if the opportunity presents itself. If you have any questions about this episode, reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have or talk to you more about it. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. I'm Marc Gordon, and thanks for watching.